am glad that I am glad that the TV's working.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I'm actually got you on my screen here and on the TV screen.
And so the
Okay.
people in the office see what Jane and I are seeing.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's
They
really
can see
great.
all of the people that are on Zoom, and the when I put up a like the agenda, they can see the agenda on the TV
Wow.
screen.
So no more projector.
Right. Right.
Excellent.
And um and unfortunately I haven't been able to make this work at the church. Um, we tried to, there's a TV there at the church, and
Right.
we tried to use, it's a little device that that we purchased that allows you to cast to the TV, and I could not get that device to work on that TV at the church. So, and it's not easy to take our TV over there. So, uh,
Don't do it.
that's not gonna, yeah, that's probably not gonna happen. So let me take a look at the agenda here. Um, First thing is review the minutes from the previous meeting, and I have those here. Jane was very gracious about getting those sent out. Is there any additions or corrections? If not, they'll stand approved as sent.
Thank you, Jane.
Yes,
Oh, you're welcome.
very nice. Zoom issues. Basically, the last meeting at the church went quite well, and I'm not exactly sure. I'm not 100% sure why. I mean, we had fewer people there, which I think shouldn't be a big deal as far as the attendees in person. Although we did ask everybody to shut their cell phones off, completely off, not airplane mode. And I guess I assume most people did that. But the other issue I think that is possible is that we had fewer people on Zoom. When we had the March meetings with the annual meeting first, we had, I think we were up around 25 people on Zoom, maybe even a little bit more than that at one point. And so that does affect bandwidth. And so I don't remember, Jane. Do you remember how many people we had just this past meeting? It was probably maybe 6 or 7.
Yeah, just a handful.
Right, right. So
Yeah.
less stress on the bandwidth with the number of people on Zoom, and so I think it worked pretty well. What did you think, Jane?
Oh, I thought it was head and shoulders above the previous meeting. There was a couple of glitchy minutes, seconds really. Nothing that was, impeded my understanding of what was going on. I thought it was good.
Yeah. One thing we still have to sort of encourage, particularly board members, is to get the microphone close enough to their mouth. Some people are holding it a little too far away, and that does affect the sound.
Yes.
And so,
it's irritating to see Pam Flanagan chatting with somebody who's on her, I guess her right side, and not being able to hear it.
yeah,
Which you probably could if you were sitting in the front row in person, at least get an idea of what she's talking about. It's just me. I'm nosy. I want to know what she has to add to the conversation that can't be said out loud.
yeah.
But
And
the other thing is many of the owners, as they speak, they say Jane Spratt 423. Like you can't hear it. You can't
right.
figure out who this person actually is. I feel sorry for whoever's taking the minutes,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I'm no wiser if they slur their name and their unit number.
yeah. I've had hard time finding, trying to figure out who it is as well. And and again, we have to really remind them to make sure they hold the microphone close enough to their face to get a good sound. Um, it's
But it's an education thing. It's
yeah,
teaching them
yeah,
that this is the procedure.
right.
Chris, would it be worth, before the meeting starts, for you as the tech guy to go make some kind of a statement to the board as a whole? And
Well,
stress
I think that that we've reminded people during the meeting a
yeah.
number of times, and so that seems to help to some extent. I think it's again sort of the off the cuff remark, that somebody might make, and they don't have a microphone, in their hand, and so we have to try to keep that to a minimum. But I think people are getting better. I really do think that, and I do think that Roger and I have discussed this. It's very possible that we should buy some more microphones, and that we should have. I think we're only using about 4 right now, where we should probably be using 8, because we do have to pass the microphone to people, and I think if the microphones were more available, we might have a little better response.
Did Roger say anything about the capacity of the board that he's using? I thought there was some limit on how many inputs you could.
I I thought we still had some capacity on this board, but I'd have to defer to him to for certain. So I thought that we could add microphones.
What is another microphone and cable amount? How much would it
I
be?
I really don't know.
Okay.
I don't think they're real expensive.
No, you shouldn't.
So I think it's doable. And the one thing that is now that we won't be back in the church probably until October. So we just have to make sure we remember how we did everything.
I
So
thought Roger was going to compile sort of a detailed cheat
yeah,
sheet that would
yeah,
be.
yeah. I think we have things pretty well cleared up. At least we think we do. So
As long as it's documented, you never
yeah,
know who's going to get hit by a bus.
well, that's right. No, that's always a consideration. And I probably need to have a little better, clearer idea of how my computer is set up. So I probably haven't documented that as well as I should. Next item would be the TV update. We've run, this will be the 3rd meeting I've had where I was here in the office with the Zoom and being able to show the Zoom participants on the TV and be able to share documents like I share when I share the screen. Those also show up on the screen on the TV. The one issue that we resolved, 2 issues we had to resolve. One is when John's computer is in here as well, and basically we've got the two computers on Zoom. I have to mute my computer, and then we use the sound coming from John's computer to go out to the Zoom people. As it turns out, I have to do more than just mute. I have to actually go into my audio settings and turn the speakers and the microphones way down to almost 0. And I didn't anticipate that, but that seemed to work. so that we didn't get feedback between the two computers and the speaker system that is here in the office. And then the other issue that came up the last time we ran it is I have to turn the sound down on the TV, because again, that was causing some feedback issues. So I've got the volume on the TV set at pretty much 0 right now. And so that seems to work. There's still a very, I think it's only about 1 second delay between what we're looking at here on my computer screen and what's on the TV screen. I know that's, I found out that is an issue with this cast system. And there are some solutions to that, but I haven't really explored them, in detail, because I don't think at this point it's a serious problem, really.
Does it matter where you're sitting in the room, Chris?
No, I can sit in pretty much anywhere. I cast at home. I'm probably, well, I mean, you know how most of our units, the dining room and the living room are pretty much the same room, but I'm on one end of the dining room, and the TV's in the living room, and that's not a problem to cast that far. It's a neat little system. It's a Google system. It's a Chrome system. And so there's a little device that we've plugged into the back of the TV, which allows it to work.
What software do you have to have on the computer that you're using?
It's actually pretty, it's pretty straightforward, Chrome. So for example, if you can see what I can see here, up here in the corner of Chrome, you can see a menu, and that menu has a cast. And the cast is what you do to start the process. And so anytime, I'm pretty sure it doesn't work with Edge or with Safari or with any of the other browsers. I think you have to use Chrome, pretty sure. And so, but that's it. I mean, as long as you've got Chrome on a computer, you should be able to cast. And I was going to check John's, because I would like to see him be able to cast without me being here. And so we'll take a look at that computer and see if that would work. And if he doesn't have Chrome, we can put Chrome on that computer. So that's the only real requirement. The one thing you have to take a look at is they've changed the casting program a little bit, and so I can choose where I cast to, and I had to set up the TV as a potential place to cast to, but I also have to make sure that I cast the screen. So there's a choice of casting something else. I'm not even sure what else it is, but it doesn't show up on, it doesn't show. So I have to make sure I say cast my screen. And so that's about the only thing I have to worry about or do when I set it up. It works fine. So next item would be website class. I've kind of just, for no real good reason, selected a couple of dates in the middle of May. It's a Wednesday and a Thursday. I wanted to run it by you guys, although Jane's not going to be able to be here, but if it's necessary for somebody else to come in and help out, why, I just want to make sure those dates might be working for you.
Doesn't work for me. I'll be out of town.
Okay. Well, I can see if George and Roger might be available. Chris,
did you get responses, or are you just setting up
I've I haven't asked the office, but I did get an email today from Karen O'Dowd, and she said she signed up for it. And so at this point, that's the only one I'm aware of. But again, I haven't checked to see if the office has had anybody else.
I think it would be useful to ask people what devices they want to
Sure.
learn on.
Yeah.
I'm just
And-
thinking that, that might make a big difference in who you ask to assist you.
Right. Well, I also think that we should put this up on the bulletin boards, and we should put it up as an announcement. And so I'll take one of those 2 dates and select it, and then see if we can get some an announcement out there and some bulletin board information out there that might help get some people involved. So, and you know what Karen's issue was, she was having trouble getting on the website. And it was a real simple solution. The username is case sensitive. So she was putting O'Dowd in with a capital O, and the actual username is a small o. So those are easy issues to fix. But it's not the only time I've seen where it's not that usual for usernames to be case sensitive. In most cases, they're not in most other applications. So I think we just maybe have to somehow maybe put a little announcement up there that says that just be aware that your username is case sensitive. Passwords are almost always case sensitive.
Chris, the problem with putting this up as an announcement presupposes that someone can log in.
That's right. And if they can't
Hence the
log in,
bulletin
they're never
board.
going to see the announcement.
Right.
Yeah, I think that it's I don't know if we could put that on the bulletin board or not. It might work that way.
So we're always circling back to the Stone Age communication system. I mean, it's just.
Yeah. I did have somebody who tried to set up an account, and at least their address was Pine Needle, and so although they said they had that their unit was in Pinehurst, so I was going to check with the office to see if they actually maybe lived in Pine Needle but owned a unit in Wildwood, but I just turned them down. I figured they said their address was Pine Needle, so that's what I went by. We get that, we get that a few times a year. Somebody in Wildwood too is trying to log into our website.
It's understandable.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't think anybody over there tells them that this is not their website.
Yeah.
All right, let's look at as you may know, we have a new administrative assistant. Cynthia is here, has been here most of the last couple of weeks, and I didn't know exactly what the timeline was, but it sounds like Maggie is going to sort of be able to stick around for a little bit yet in May and help out. And so I have told Cynthia that I would like to sit down and go over some things with her, particularly sending out blanket emails, and I'd like to get review the issues of trying to post almost any document, and just to sort of show her how that's done, and that way she can post documents. And announcements is still sort of an issue because I use those images in front of the announcements, but it's not that difficult to figure that out. So I would plan on doing that with her, showing her how to do that as well. And those are the main issues. I guess the only other one that I think should come up once in a while is a new owner or a new resident applying for an account, and over the last quite a while actually, that should have been going to Maggie as well as to me, but Maggie doesn't seem to respond to that. And so then I have to ask him, is this a real new owner or isn't it? And I think that should be something the office should be able to do, because they're the ones that know whether it is a new owner. And so I want to see if I can get that sort of straightened out.
Do you have any sense of what her level of computer skills are?
Not yet. I really haven't had a good opportunity to sit down with her, and I know she's been working hard, learning, what she needs to do here in the office. And I know she's now basically sitting in Maggie's chair and taking phone calls and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And John asked me to switch the work orders and the report of problems to Cynthia instead of Maggie. So those are now going to her. And I was going to ask today whether or not I should say there's still a contact Maggie in the menu on the office, and I'm guessing we'll switch that to Cynthia. But I wanted to be sure.
Chris, this might be a good time to bring this up. In the course of revising that email permission document, Jane brought up the very excellent suggestion of changing the Maggie
Right.
position to office.
Right.
And
yeah.
I ran the revised email permission document by John, and in the course of doing that, I made this suggestion, which he approved.
Good.
So I wonder if this is a good time to just stop the Maggie and Cynthia business before it starts.
Well, yeah,
and be able to forward every office to the appropriate individual.
Yeah. The thing I haven't really taken a good look at is there should be a way to forward. And that's what I have to make sure happens. In other words, if we have an email address called office@wildwoodsprings.com, it needs to be forwarded probably to Cynthia and John. And so I just have to make sure that that's possible.
Do the
Why John?
Maggie, pardon?
Well, I guess it wouldn't have to go to John.
Well, if the Maggie ones just go to Maggie now.
Right.
In fact, maybe Cynthia's new email address, as far as the office is concerned, should be office.
No, I can't do that, because then I can't forward stuff to her email.
Well, then, I mean, I'm saying forget about the forward operation. Just call Cynthia office, or whoever is sitting in that chair. And when she looks for her new email, she automatically sees what comes to office. Just like she'd automatically see what's coming to Cynthia.
Right. I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
let me think about that a little bit. I mean, there may be some reasons why that she should still have her own. I was thinking we'd have both, that
Mhm.
we'd have a Cynthia and an office. But let me take a look at that. One of the things I can do here is in the administrative area. Sorry, I just took a look at setting up another email account. Um, and they have some warnings about forwarding, that I'll have to sort of resolve to make sure that the forwarding would work. But again, maybe we don't need to forward. That's
Yeah.
a possibility.
No,
But
just,
I'm still not, I'm not 100% sure that John will be happy if we don't have some of these coming to him as well.
Or whatever we're doing now.
just rename Cynthia office.
Well, one of the things that we do now is that the work orders and the report problems go to both.
Okay, well, just
They-
keep doing that.
Yeah, both the manager and either Maggie or now Cynthia is going to get those work orders, and I think that probably makes sense for them to do that. But I don't disagree that having an office email would make sense, and we could certainly put that in the office menu. The question is whether we still want to have in there a contact manager and a contact Cynthia. And so that would I wouldn't have a problem with all three of those, but we'll have to see what I'd want to check with them and see what they feel about it.
That would save you a ton of work, Chris.
Well, actually,
In time. I mean, now we have to go through and have all the Maggie documents redone with the word Maggie taken out.
yeah.
And this would, from this moment forward,
We'd never have to do it again.
unnecessary.
Yeah. And I don't know how many documents have that in there. But
A lot of the forms do.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. The forms
And,
probably.
Resident information does.
Yeah.
Truthfully, we don't know how long Cynthia's going to hang around.
Right.
Well,
We could be going
any
through
of,
this again in 3 months.
if any of you, I've been here 10 years, actually 12 years. And I think we're on the 7th system. And I kept trying to think of the one, and I can't think of her name. When we first came, Maureen was the assistant. And there was a person after that, very nice person that was taking money from us.
Yeah.
Do you remember who that was?
Don't remember her name, but I can see her face.
I can too. She was
Same
very
here.
nice, very
Yeah.
personable.
Yeah.
Really,
Everybody loved her.
absolutely.
She was the
Until we
best.
found
I mean,
out she was taking money.
That's a little problem.
Yeah, I know. And
Anyway, but the point is, Chris, and you just made the case better than I could, because I couldn't think of 7. You
Yeah.
know, that this is a pain in the neck every time it happens, as we're doing it now.
Yeah, it's a bit of a revolving door, and so I don't have any problem setting up a general account like that.
Well, you know, in your own, I don't know how many email addresses you have, but I've got lots. And my phone can handle as many as I throw at them. I mean, all my devices. So it's just a matter of, if you want to have a separate Cynthia, but just don't put that on documents.
Right. Well, there is a limit on how many email accounts we can have.
Yeah, I understand.
And at one time, I was asked to set up accounts for Jeff and some of the other maintenance people. But then somehow that got changed, and I was told to eliminate all those accounts. So I'm not sure what was going on there, but yeah, we have a limited number, but we have room for at least a couple more without any problem.
All we're suggesting is one
Yeah,
office.
yeah, and I can easily put that on the menu.
If for no other purpose than the forms.
Yes, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, content editor formatting issues. I think Lynn, you might have suggested that I check with the website people about, is there a way to, when I paste information into the content editor, if I lose the formatting. And so I did ask the people, the support people, about that just recently, and they said that it won't. There's no solution to that at this point to keep the original formatting. And they did suggest that I present that as a possible improvement to the system. And so I'll put that in. There's a place for suggestions of what might work better. And that would be one that I would like to put in there. But at this point, when we paste in, we're going to have to reformat it. So.
Chris, is there I mean, I can hardly believe this problem exists. Even, I mean, in 1995, that software was probably developed.
Yeah.
I mean, it really looks ancient. And I mean, if we'd known that when we were making a choice, because the graphics and the presentation look good, but, you know, if under the hood, it's, you know, so cumbersome. But I'm wondering if there's a way that when I'm composing a page to go on the residence menu, I can do it directly onto something else other than Word. And that would preserve for their purposes.
It's actually the issue with creating a document that's going to go on the website isn't the real problem. The problem, I mean, if we create a document in Word, we're going to change it to PDF, because when we put it on the website as a link, we want it to be a PDF. If it's a Word document, what happens is it downloads it.
Right.
In other words, when you go
I didn't mean to introduce that as a complication. I only send you the things in Word so you can add the links.
right.
I mean, I could just as well send you a PDF.
Yeah, actually, I still prefer to see them as Word.
Yeah.
And
I'm
then
asking if there's something other than Word that I can
corrected. Yeah, it's easier to do it in Word.
Okay.
The issue is really when we would go into a page and we're going to put the text on that page. It's not going to be a link. We're going to use this content editor, and we're going to throw the material, the text, whatever, onto a page that that won't be linked, and that's where the formatting issue comes in. It's not really when we have a linked document. It's when we have a document that we're just going to put. And this was the thing that we talked about as far as searchable. If we're going to have a document that's searchable, it has to be, the text has to be on a page rather than being a linked document. Right. So it's not, I mean, I've done it where I've reformatted. It's just that as you get into longer documents, it just takes longer to do it. And sometimes I may not format it the way it was originally. I may get creative. Maybe I shouldn't do that, but sometimes I think that, formatting is always one of those things where having sort of good guidelines is probably important. And we've tried to do that. But some of the original documents, some of the association documents, they don't follow those formatting guidelines anyway. So the question is, you keep them exactly the way they are or not. The next item would be an update on documents and forms, and I really don't have any update. I mean, I know we haven't. I know Roger was going to bring something up with the board at a workshop, but I didn't attend that workshop, so I'm not exactly sure if that happened.
I think there were two things that I had in mind. One was this soap opera about trying to get current non-scanned 4 times documents in our official postings. And Roger got something that looked very beautiful in text, but that wasn't a finished document. And he was supposed to then follow that up. So that was what I was hoping to find out about. The other thing is the email form, which was our test.
Right.
Of redoing the forms so they would look better and read better.
And I'm not sure where we're at on that.
Well, here's where we're at, sort of. Another soap opera. I rewrote the text and sent it to John with, several questions.
Okay.
And he replied meticulously, and in general, he approved it for his own purposes, with one change, which I've revised. And that's where the question of using the office email instead of the name of the assistant came up. Anyway, I don't have Word. I use a program that converts to Word, because I use a Mac. And I sent that to Catherine, who's now out of town for a period of time.
Yeah.
So it has reached the typing stage, and that's where it's residing.
Yeah, I think she'll be back next week. She sounded like she was only going to be gone a week or so. So
okay, well, she just returned the email and said, "I'm out of town.
Yeah,
talk to you later." Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I mean, we could just submit the text. When's the next workshop, Chris? Do you know offhand, roughly?
It's not going to be in May. It's going to be in June. Yeah, because John takes his vacation in May, and so the there'll be a early June board meeting with an early June workshop.
Well, I guess that's what we aim for. I was going to say that we could just submit the text to the board for
Okay.
their approval. They don't
Yeah.
have to see the formatted form.
Right, right.
Okay.
Um, well, let's give that, let's make sure we get that presented then at that workshop, and then, I don't know if it'll have to go to the regular meeting or not for any kind of approval, but if it does, that shouldn't be a big problem, I wouldn't think.
Soap opera comes to mind.
Thank you, Jane.
Well, it's, sometimes we do find people that want to make suggestions.
How tactful.
Um, are there any other items? If not,
me.
the where did I go here? The next scheduled meeting would be May 26th. I don't see, sometimes we've had a May meeting, sometimes we haven't. I don't see any real good reason not to have it. And so we might be able to get some ideas or some feedback on if we got a class that ran, and then perhaps a little bit of an update on the forms and issue before it goes to the board. And so hopefully Roger and George will be able to participate in that meeting.
Can we just leave that and sort of do an email exchange to figure out whether
Right.
we
No,
need the meeting or,
I think that's what we've done in the past. Yeah, that's no problem.
and then we don't meet for the summer, right? So,
Well, again, it's sort of if there's any real good need, and over the last summer or two, we haven't had any pressing issue to have a meeting. So I think we'll play that by ear as well. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
I'll second it.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate your participation today. And I recommend a restaurant, if you haven't tried it, it's called Chateau 13. It's downtown Bradenton. It's quite excellent.
Stop the recording, Chris. Then we can chat.